It's always been my job in this to testify, always. And I went down to the spill early on, and I documented what was going on in written form, in photography, and on film, because I knew what was going to happen, because that's just the way it works. We saw the same thing in Exxon, and we saw the same thing with the 9/11 first responders. It's happened over history again and again. I went to Mississippi down by Denise's house, and I went to Horn Island and Deer Island, and I saw tar balls the size of cow patties, and I took pictures, and at that time BP was saying there was no oil on the ocean floor. So me and my friends got in the water, and we stuck a bottle down in and pulled it up, and it was half oil and half sand. We did this to tell the truth. And by the time I got back, I had pounding headaches, I had nausea, I had diarrhea, I slept for days. It was probably the worst sick I've ever been. I felt like I had swallowed an apricot core. And I went to my doctor, and the doctor, he took one look. He said it was the worst case of bronchitis he'd ever seen. I asked him how I got the worst case of bronchitis in 4 days, and he didn't have an answer for that. I told him I'd been in the water. I told him that what I'd been doing all summer, and he refused to give me the test. He refused. He looked me in the eye and said, "That can't be it. That's not it." Thank goodness for Dr. Subra and Lean, they did get me the test, and I had 6 out of the 10 toxins or poisons in my blood. I don't know how that's going to affect my life, and I don't care right now. As I told the Oil Spill Commission a couple weeks ago, that I was worried about my life, but I'm a mom. I'm a mom just like this lady sitting right here next to her son. And I'm not worried about my life. I'm worried about our babies. I'm worried about the 3-year-old and the 10-year-old and the 11-year-old. They came back 10 times the 95th percentile. I'm worried about their future, because I'm doing my job, and when I'm done, I'm done. But they got a whole life in front of them. Some people, you can see the scars and the lesions and the staph infections. You can see the pus oozing from the open sores. And others, they just walk on carrying little tiny time bombs in their veins, ticking their way towards hospital beds and long goodbyes. There are too many of us now. There are too many of us. These are our first responders that are suffering the worst of it now. There are not enough good doctors, and there are not enough doctors that know how to treat chemical exposure. Too many times I've come home to a phone call to know that my friends are in the hospital, or that their babies have a cough that won't go away, or that their spouses have thrown up every night for weeks, or that their children have a rash, or that their family pet has passed. There have been too many sleepless nights wondering, what can I do that will make one flat flippin' bit of difference here? And I keep coming to these forums, and I keep speaking on behalf of them, on behalf of myself, on behalf of my own kids. I live an hour from the Gulf. I was trying to tell the truth, because the people who are supposed to represent me will not. Yes, you do. What does it feel like to not be heard? To not be considered important enough to protect your very life? I'm done, guys. That was the end for me right there. It's time to triage these people. I will not ask BP not one more time to help us, and I will not ask the government not one more time to help us. Forget them. It is time for us to stand up. Testify. You saw it right here. It's time to stand up. It's time to find our voice and to push for steady pressure. We cannot let them continue to do this. We cannot let this happen. I will not let this happen. Not to one more child. Not in my presence. Not one more time. Let's find the sickest among them and let's get them help. Ms. Subra, I'm gonna do everything I can to get you some money. Mary Lee, let's get these people some help. All right? Forget this speech. Raise your voices up. It's over.